Tarkir Dragonstorm Prerelease is a mere 24 hours or so away, unless you're watching this on Friday, from happening, and we are excitedly going to jump into it here today. We're going to spend a little bit of time. If you're like me, I usually do a little bit of prep for pre-release, but don't always get a chance to look at the full card gallery. There are a ton of awesome and amazing cards. There's a ton of actually really fantastic rares that are going to line up with the different clans that you are going to have to make a tough choice on for what you're going to play at pre-release. But in this video here today, I want to pull out just a couple of standout commons and uncommons that I think are going to help to level up the power of your deck, things that you should keep an eye out for and include potentially in the colors that you end up playing, a few splash opportunities as well, and then a couple of honorable mentions that I think are going to help with one of the most difficult things in Tarkir, which is mana fixing. So without further ado, let's jump in. Let's take a look at some cards. All right, the first in white here is an uncommon for 3 and 1 white called Rally the Monastery. Now, there are some really powerful choice, instants, and sorceries in this set, so do keep an eye out for these. This is one of the standouts, in my opinion. This spell costs 2 less to cast if you've cast another spell this turn, which is a very common theme you are going to see, especially in Jeskai and a handful of other colors. You get the opportunity to choose one of 3 options, which is pretty neat. You can put some power on the battlefield, creating 2 1/1 white monk creature tokens with prowess. You can give up to 2 target creatures you control each +2/+2 until end of turn, or you can destroy target creature power with power 4 or greater. The thing I like most about this spell is the fact that it has a lot of very good options. This is going to be a spell that I don't think at any point you'll be upset to see in your hand, and the fact that if you can drop something even for 2 mana, you're able to then play this for 2 mana, which can make for a very, very powerful turn 4 or turn 5 late into the game. So something to keep an eye out for. Next here in blue is Kishla Trawlers, 2 and a blue for a creature human citizen, 3 power 2 toughness. When this creature enters, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. When you do, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. I think this is going to be an absolutely awesome uncommon, especially for blue. There are a ton, again, of good instants and sorceries. There is a lot of graveyard recursion, different things that you can do with this creature, and the ability to essentially get a instant or sorcery back from your graveyard to your hand is going to help, I think, in many instances. Card draw spells, anything, there's quite a few options to smooth out your hand in this set. This can bring those back, so late game feels pretty good. A 3/2 body for 3 is by itself a decent rate. It's not great, but it's pretty good. And this additional option that you have now, it does have a little bit of a clause. You do need to exile a creature card from your graveyard, so might not be something that you can necessarily play on turn 3, but you might have the option, especially in some of the colors like Sultai, where we're going to be putting things into the graveyard. This can be pretty solid, and I think is going to provide a lot of value here in the set. All right, for a third pick here in black, we have Desperate Measures, a 1 black mana pip instant. Target creature gets +1/-1 until end of turn. When it dies under your control this turn, you draw 2 cards. This is going to be, I think, really, really awesome. This is going to be a potentially fantastic combat trick. You could get some really good value off of this card and hopefully set yourself up for a pretty good card advantage engine. This is essentially Skull Clamp on an instant, which is pretty dang cool, and I can see a lot of scenarios here where you're going to be able to block potentially even early, maybe make a trade with something that's just a slightly bit more power, obviously as long as you don't kill your own creature, and then you're going to be able to essentially trade those creatures and pick up 2 cards as well for some really, really good card draw engine. Now, in a pinch, you could also just kill something that has 1 toughness, get your 2 card draw. This can help you to put a creature into your graveyard as well, which certainly is something that quite a bit of plans are looking to do, either to exile it, potentially harmonize, or do a handful of other things off of this. So keep an eye out for this one. All right, in red here, Fleeting Effigy, a 1 red pip creature elemental haste 2/2 body. At the beginning of your end step, return this creature to its owner's hand, and for 2 generic and 1 red, you can give the creature +2/+0 until end of turn. There are so many options and so many good cards that utilize being able to play or triggering off of playing of a second spell. This creature right here, I think, is going to be one of the best engines at being able to do that. In addition, a 2/2 body with haste means that you're going to be able to drop this in on turn 1, get in for some quick damage, potentially turn 2 as well. If your opponent is a little slower, you're going to be able to play this pretty easily in those decks that are looking to play multiple spells per turn. And then it has its own recursion effect, which just makes getting this off the battlefield not only difficult, but also makes this just the engine that you're going to want for those spells. I think this is going to be an absolute all-star in many of the decks looking to do that and play double spells, so keep an eye out for this one. All right, in green, we have one. We actually have an honorable mention as well. The first one I want to talk about here, Synchronized Charge. This is a harmonized sorcery for 1 generic, 1 green that allows you to distribute 2 1/1 counters among 1 or 2 target creatures you control. Then all creatures you control with counters on them in Vigilance and Trample until end of turn. This is an uncommon. It also has Harmonized for 4 generic and 1. If you're not familiar with the Harmonized mechanic, you can cast the card from your graveyard for its Harmonized cost. You can tap a creature to reduce that cost by X, where X is its power, and then you exile the spell. The reason I think this is going to be so great is there are so many counter-generating cards and effects in this set, and green is definitely looking to do that. You're going to be able to, I feel like, make great use of this. This is going to be a great spell to be able to push some damage through. The fact that it gives both Vigilance and Trample is actually pretty awesome, and I think maybe a little bit busted. And then you can recur this later, so if those creatures stay alive, you're actually distributing 2 1/1 counters. That essentially is reducing 2 of the Harmonized cost. You're going to be able to tap those creatures to add those additional counters on. The synergies here just continue. They are fantastic. I think this is going to be a standout, one of the standout green uncommons to look for, and I think exactly what the green decks are going to be hoping to do. All right, honorable mention here in green. I think this is going to be a fantastic card. Heritage Reclamation, an instant for 1 generic and 1 green. Another modal spell giving you the option to choose one of 3 things. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, and then draw a card. Really, really fantastic effects. I like all 3 of these. I don't know how impactful artifacts or enchantments. There are some pretty good enchantments and artifacts in the set. I think one of the things that's going to get used most often with Heritage Reclamation is end of turn exiling something. So many things, harmonized cards, so much graveyard recursion in the set. I think that option is going to be really fantastic. In addition to that, you get to draw a card and essentially replace this effect or replace what you're spending to do this. So definitely an honorable mention. Fantastic card. If you're playing green, probably want this in there. All right, now we have a multicolored card, which I think in the right deck, certainly going to be a little restrictive for its mana cost, but you have Kishla Skimmer, a green and a blue for a creature bird scout, flying 2/2. Whenever a card leaves your graveyard this turn, draw a card. This ability triggers only once. I always think that card draw engines are really important, especially in a limited environment. And in green and blue, this is exactly what you want to be doing. You're going to have a lot of opportunities, again, with either exiling things from graveyards or harmonizing things from graveyards, especially in these colors. I think you're going to have the opportunity to get this triggers and get some card draw off of this pretty consistently. A 2-mana 2/2 flyer for 2 by itself is also a pretty decent rate and a really good body. So keep an eye out for this. If you are in those colors, I think this is going to be a great creature. I think it's going to be able to put in a decent amount of damage just for its evasion abilities, and then even getting the ability to draw 1 or 2 cards off of this and get some of that advantage will definitely be good. I have an honorable mention here. I cannot talk about this set without talking about Skirmish Rhino. This is a mini baby Siege Rhino. It is absolutely awesome. For a white, a black, and a green, you have a creature rhino 3/4 body with trample. When it enters, each opponent loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. I had the distinct, I guess I'm old enough, pleasure to play when the original Tarkir was out. Siege Rhino was an absolute menace and a fantastic creature. This is the baby version of it, and I absolutely love it. So big shouts out to this. It's going to be very restrictive to play this, but you are in these colors and you have a skirmish rhino, you will never be upset to see this guy hit the battlefield. Okay, up next is 3 cards that I want to call out specifically because I think this is going to be one of the most interesting kind of new aspects for Tarkir Dragonstorm, and it's our Omen cards. Now, there's a handful of these across the set. I've picked out 3 that I think are amongst the best. First is Purging Stormbrood. This is a 4/4. They're all creature dragons that we've picked out here. This is a 4/4 flying ward, pay 2 life. When this creature enters, remove all counters from up to 1 target creature. It also has Absorb Essence for 1 and a white instant Omen. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink and hexproof until end of turn. If you're not familiar with omens, once you cast that side of it, you shuffle the card back into its owner's library. I really like this. I think the fact that you have the Absorb Essence here, buffing a creature, giving it life link and hexproof is going to be a great combat trick early, something that you can get an immense amount of value off of. +2/+2 and lifelink is awesome. You can also kind of pair this up with harmonized cards as well, so there's an opportunity to do some really fun things with that. And then for 4 and a black, you're getting a 4/4 flying with Ward of pay 2 life that can also eliminate counters from 1 target creature. There are so many counter effects and ability to put different types of counters, not just 1/1 counters, but trample counters and vigilance counters. All that is in this set. I think this effect is going to be pretty neat for this creature, so keep an eye out for this one. I really do enjoy Purging Stormbrood. The next one to call a little bit of attention to, and probably the weakest potentially of the 3, but also could be one of the best, is Twin Maw Stormbrood. Again, a creature dragon. This is for 5 and a white. You get a 5/4 flyer. When it enters, you gain 5 life. Charring Bite is 1 and a red sorcery omen. Charring Bite deals 5 damage to target creature without flying. The combination of having a removal spell on a good bodied creature that also gains you a lot of life in 5, I think is a fantastic combination. Again, early on, you're going to like seeing this. The ability to deal 5 damage is going to be quite good. Take out a ton of threats in the format. Then later on, draw this later. Hopefully 6 mana isn't too restrictive for this, and you're going to have a really big creature that can help to provide that life gain and that swing. We have seen these effects as of late be very good, and 5 life is a lot. So that can really help to stabilize. So keep an eye out for this one. And then lastly, Disruptive Stormbrood. 4 and a green for, again, a creature dragon with flying. It's a 3/3 body. When this creature enters, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. As we would expect from green, artifact enchantment destruction is pretty good, and we do enjoy that effect. There's not a ton of them outside of a few that we've mentioned here in this video already. It also has a sorcery omen for 1 and a black, petty revenge. Destroy target creature with power 3 or less. Again, very much like the previous Twin Maw, the fact that we have both a destruction effect for a creature, and then on this side of it with the creature casting side, an artifact and enchantment destruction, I think both very good. Lots of good options for this. Obviously, all of these are a little bit more restrictive because they're a little bit bigger creatures in order to cast, but you're going to be able to use petty revenge and the omen sides of this, I think, very well for their casting costs. So keep an eye out for them. Okay, and then the last mention, and one of the most difficult things, but hopefully one of the easier things that you'll find with a few tips here, is going to be your mana fixing. In each of the clans, you're going to be playing, very likely going to require 3 colors in order to make the decks function as best as they can. You're going to have some lands that are going to help with this. Evolving Wilds is in the set, which is going to be a great pickup. Kind of from a draft perspective, probably draft pretty high in this set because of the 3 color restrictions that you're going to have. But In addition to that, in each of the different clans, you have a devotee that is going to help you to fix your mana, essentially, by just turning it. So paying 1 and then either generating one of the 3 colors of that clan. You can only do it once per turn, but I think these are going to be great. Interestingly enough, with each of these devotees, they also have an ability or something that aligns to that clan, which I also really, really like. So we'll run through these quickly, but Mardu Devotee is a 1 creature human scout 1/2 body for 1 white, I should have said. When this creature enters, you get to scry 2, and then you're getting your Mardu color shifting. Pretty neat. The fact that you can scry 2 off of a 1 mana creature, it's pretty good. Looking at Teamer Devotee, 1 and a blue for a 3/3 creature human druid. It does have Defender, which kind of talks to its stat line of being a 3/3 for 2. And again, you're going to get your Teamer colors off of this. Probably one of, I don't want to say the weaker ones, but definitely a much more defensive spell to be able to fix. But the body might help this to stick around a little bit better. So that is something to consider. Abzan Devotee, 1 and a black for a creature dog cleric, 2/1 body. You can do your Abzan color shifting, and for 2 and a black, you can return this card from your graveyard to your hand. Abzan's going to love the ability to remove cards from the graveyard. So this is a perfect setup on this card, and not a bad body either. Your Jeskai Devotee is a creature orc monk for 1 and a red, 2/2 body. That again can shift you into your Jeskai colors, and has Flurry. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Flurry is going to be one of those that, again, Jeskai is really looking to do. So early on, this is going to be great for fixing. Later on, this can be pretty good to help to maybe push in some damage with some other pump spells and some of the other things that you're going to be doing. And pretty interesting little creature here. All right, and then lastly, we have the Sultai Devotee, 1 and a green for a creature zombie snake druid, 2/1 body. Again, can shift you into your Sultai colors, but is a 2/1 with Death Touch. I actually really enjoy this one. I think this is going to be a great card for Sultai. Again, not only for the color fixing, but small body Death Touch creatures can sometimes be a little bit of a pain to deal with. You're going to be a little sad if you have to waste a removal spell on this to get a little bit bigger creature through for some damage. So I think this is going to be fantastic to run in the deck. And of course, all of them are going to be great just to help with the mana fixing. All right, and that wraps it up. So hopefully a good set of cards to keep an eye out for. There are a ton of fantastic cards in the set. Really recommend, if you get a chance before heading over to pre-release, pop over to Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering site, take a look at the card list, give a scroll through. Lots of fantastic rares. This video would be 3 times as long if we spent some time talking about those. But I do think it's important to focus on some commons and uncommons that I really think can help to power up the level of your deck. Keep an eye out for it. I am really excited to test this out. Test out the new mechanics, Flurry, the Omen system, a handful of others, Harmonize. All of that I think can be pretty cool, and I'm really looking forward to it. Best of luck if you head out to a pre-release. We'll be jumping into after this next week when it goes live on MTG Arena. We'll be doing some arena stuff. We'll probably chat a little bit about our pre-release. We're going to do quite a few events, I think, this weekend. I'm very excited for this set. Probably the most, well, I don't want to say the most excited. I really enjoyed Bloomburrow, really enjoyed Dustmorn. Aether Drift was cool, and I attended it. But this one is definitely getting a lot more hype. So hopefully enjoyed. Hopefully the video was helpful for you. If you got any other cards that are on your radar that can help folks out, be sure to post those down below in the comments. If you want to join our Discord, we have a Magic the Gathering channel. You can share any cool openings or any cool pre-release kits that you get. If you're picking up any product and rip in any cool Mox Jaspers or anything else like that, we'd love to see them. So feel free to join us over there. Links in the description. Hit that subscribe button for me. Really help me out. And if you enjoy MTG Arena content as well as pack openings, we do that here on the channel. We have quite a few playlists. Go peruse those. Multiple videos a week. Every Wednesday we're doing our openings, and we should have Tarkir Dragonstorm here very, very quickly. So very excited about that. But thanks for checking this one out. We'll be sure to catch you in the next video. Peace.